nothing good comes easy.
This is the game of basketball. Obviously, nobody wants to lose, but our spirits are still high and we believe in ourselves. Nothing good comes easy.
In the first 2 games of this series, the only thing that has come easy has been offense for the Mavericks.
All the way to the hole. The rainbow lands for Luka Doncic.
If the Clippers are going to stage a historic comeback, it will have to start on the defensive end.
We got to get stops. We have to get stops.
We got to rise to the occasion. The fact of the matter is, if we don't, we're done for.
We just have to be better defensively, have to be more hungry. It's going to be on us just to go out here and take on the challenge of figuring out how to stop these guys.
Tonight, as the series shifts to Texas, LA will need their D. Clippers.
Oh, another steal by Kawhi, his 4th. Back the other way. Oh, my goodness. Hello, Nasty.
Mavs.
Hardaway for 3. Got it. The shocker of all shockers so far in the first round of the NBA postseason.
Next.
Welcome to Clippers Live, presented by CarMax on Value Sports. The best of 7 series between your Clippers and the Mavericks has made its way to Dallas for Game 3 tonight. And coming up on Clippers Live, yes, a supersized Texas showdown includes adjustments to get the Clippers back into this series. What more will we see from Luka, and what about Kawhi Leonard? What could he do fresh off the historic night? And, of course, the Mavs. Being the Mavs means you got to figure out a way to handle the challenge that is Luka. We're shaking everything up. There in Dallas, we're back in the Valley Sports Studios. Jeannie Zelasco, Don McClain, Corey Maggette. You've got our Friday game face on, and we're going to call it like it is.
I like being at Staples better, but
I know, man.
Miss Tone Loc, don't
I'm like
you?
so far away from you guys.
aside from the audio issues, yeah, I like being there better.
All right, so the serious stuff, we'll get it out there. They're down 0-2. Hostile crowd, and I mean a big crowd. They don't like the words, panic, pressure. You agree with the urgency?
Well, let's go with the word adjustment that gets used all the time. So are you going to adjust your lineup? We're going to talk about that in a second. Do you adjust the game plan? We're going to find out tonight. But for me, the biggest adjustment comes in your mindset, in how you start the game. Corey, 2 bad starts for the Clippers have allowed the Mavericks to get confident. To me, it's about attacking, being on the attack to start the game. That's the biggest adjustment for me with the Clippers, is adjusting that mindset.
Another adjustment that I would say, you just can't let anyone come into your home. They're basically giving the Dallas Mavericks the keys to walk and roam through their home. You cannot do that. This Clippers team, they're too good. And so for us, when we're watching these games, we see some of the breakdowns that they can improve on. So, again, if you want this series, you have to go take it. You just can't allow the Dallas Mavericks to take your lunch money and go buy whatever they want.
Although tonight, we would prefer some Southern hospitality. If they want to give the Clippers the keys to their home, let them roam around a little bit. Clippers are making adjustments. I will use your words. First note is Serge Ibaka. Just as he was getting on the plane for the Clippers, the back kind of surged up a little bit. He did say it was a pinched nerve that cost him 30 games. So he's out tonight. And Ty Lue said I might be making some changes to the lineups. And, Corey, that's what we're seeing tonight. Reggie Jackson will be getting the start.
Well, I think as a coach, he's watching a lot of film. He's trying to figure out what works. We need to find some type of continuity with this team. I really believe adding Reggie Jackson, you have another offensive punch for this team. And I think this adjustment allows them to get more from Reggie Jackson, but also putting Reggie in this game from an offensive standpoint, it opens up more space even for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So I'm hoping that this will work for their team, Don.
Well, let's not forget that Pat Bev was out for for a pretty long stretch, and that when he was out, Reggie Jackson was rolling, and the Clippers were rolling for the most part. He gives you more pop offensively. He's more of a playmaker than Pat Bev. You could argue they're both probably the same from behind the three-point line, but for me, with the ball in Reggie Jackson's hands, it takes the pressure off of Kawhi and PG to have to make plays for everybody else. They can focus on their own individual scoring. So I think a great move for the Clippers. Doesn't mean Pat Bev's not going to play. I just think you maybe get off to a better start offensively with Reggie in the lineup.
And that first quarter, a big deal. The Mavs 29-0 when they win that first quarter. And starter to starter, Clippers outscored 18 points in that first quarter with their starting unit versus Dallas. So the change, we saw it coming. Kawhi Leonard will be making yet another impact tonight. I think it's kind of lost in the losses, the history that he's made, Don.
Well, we said it the other night. Like, PG and Kawhi did their thing the other night. They did what was necessary at the offensive end for the Clippers to win. It's just the defense wasn't good enough. But he was electric the other night. He was unstoppable. 41, most in Clipper franchise history. So something to be said there based on all the playoff appearances of Clippers in the last decade. But he can impose his will on the game offensively, and he did the other night. It'll be interesting to see, Corey, if Dallas makes any adjustments for Kawhi and PG tonight, knowing that if they allow them to get 41 and 28 again, if the Clipper defense is better, that's probably going to mean a Clipper win. So we'll see if Dallas changes their defense at all.
Hey, Don, what I would see even from Kawhi Leonard, you saw the impact in that first half, how he dominated. But the adjustments, and even I know Kawhi has watched a lot of film to see what Dallas done in that second half. They went to almost 2 and 3 defenders to slow Kawhi down. So I want to see in this position, Don, that he's even more aggressive. And also that means even for Paul George to be more aggressive in that first half to kind of keep Dallas, like they're trying to figure out exactly what player to stop during the game.
But again, Corey, if the Clipper defense is better, what does that mean? It means to run outs. It means the early offense. It means the easier offense. So that, to me, is the key. I don't think it matters what the defensive game plan is on Kawhi if you're out in transition most of the game. So we'll see if the Clipper defense rises up tonight.
Yeah, we're going to see pretty quickly as we talk Luka Doncic. And it's interesting, Corey, because this is just his second postseason. It's his first game ever in front of a very large, supportive crowd. You expect another gear from Luka? Is there one?
Well, Luka plays at his own pace. And you watch this game, he's very confident. And I think in this game as a player, if you're confident, you're going to thrive. We know that Luka has the skill level. He has the basketball IQ. But for him, it's just more about trying to figure out how to slow him down. The great players in the league, you can't stop them. So let's not get that twisted. You cannot stop Luka Doncic. You have to trap him. You have to make him have those tough shots. So if he's going to get 30 points, Don, if he's going to get 40 points, it has to be off 40 attempts. He have to be off of 38 attempts. And hopefully the Clippers can figure that out.
Well, to answer your question, Jeannie, if he's got another gear, I'm not sure. I'm going to get some popcorn and sit down and watch that because it's be something we've never seen. I think this, you guys. I think that the whole mixing coverages thing just isn't working. It's you have to get good at one thing. If you have 7 or 8 things you're trying to do, you're probably not good at any of them. And I think that's been the case in the first couple games where if you're changing your defense every possession, there's miscommunication. There's guys in the wrong spots. Guys aren't rotating right. So it'll be interesting to see if they tighten kind of the things that they're throwing at Luka. And I said this after game 2. For me, I'm not watching him chop me up. I'm blitzing the screen roll game. I'm getting it out of his hands. I'll live with the Hardaways and the Klebas of the world beating me because I don't think night in and night out those guys are going to keep shooting the way they've been shooting. But if you get them shooting and Doncic is getting 35, you got a problem, as we've seen.
And Don, Gina, I have one more. You said it, Don. And one thing about Luka Doncic, his 35 points is almost like his 65 points. The impact of his scoring is far more valuable than any other player on the Dallas Mavericks team. So what Don is saying, if Luka is coming off that pick and roll, whenever he gets the ball, you have to get the basketball out of his hands. Neutralize him. He is the king of the castle. even if Tim Hardaway or Dorian Finney-Smith, those guys score the basketball, the impact is so much more different than when Luka scores the basketball.
Everything you guys are describing, part of the pregame conversation. Ty Lue said we got to just simplify tonight. Looking forward to it. Also looking forward to the three-man weave. Don and Corey, welcome the czar, Mike Fratello, into the house here. Clippers shaking things up tonight. Game 3 adjustments. And as always, we're going to hear from Ty Lue. He's going to talk urgency and his Clippers. Clippers Live is presented by CarMax, official.
When we get to the playoffs, hitting the full stride, being at our strength.
I was made for this. You know that I was made for this. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. I was made for this. Yeah. You know that I was made for this.
Playoff basketball. Welcome back to Clippers Live, presented by CarMax on Bally Sports. Your host, Don McClain, Coach Fratello, and Corey Maggette.
See, that's the kind of start that the Clippers need. The start we got for this three-man weave. That's the pop that the Clippers need tonight.
Exactly, Mac.
Right from the jump. Mike, Corey and I talked about the lineup change tonight. Reggie Jackson replacing Patrick Beverley in the starting lineup. Wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I spent a lot of time thinking about that. If they made a change, who should it be? And the first name that jumped out at me was Rondo because of all of his playoff experience and everything that goes along with it. But then I tried to think, how do you keep Reggie Jackson involved, and particularly if he's having one of those nights, as we know, where everything is going down that he shoots. So because of their changes at the defensive end of the floor tonight, I thought they're running with Jackson to start out with to see how he gets off if he makes the first couple shots. Then they can always come with Rondo earlier if he's not making shots. But that's something that it's a read, obviously, by Ty Lue. Doesn't surprise me because we've seen Reggie Jackson win games for the Clippers this year when he has that hot hand.
Yeah, I like the move. I think it's going to be really beneficial to start the game with him in the lineup. Corey, a lot of people have been wondering why Terrence Mann wasn't part of the playoff rotation. You can't play everybody, but he played well the other night. It sounds like he's going to get more of an opportunity tonight as well.
Yeah, it was a little puzzling to me because of the amount of work that Terrence Mann has put in the entire regular season. And to think about it, he developed during this entire, even just his basketball game, his basketball IQ, his level of understanding when to score, when to pass, and just what he brings on the floor. He brings so much excitement. He's energetic, a lot of energy. And so when I didn't see him play that first game, I was concerned personally. But now, you know, they inserted him into that game, the second game, and you saw the impact of Terrence Mann. So I just believe that they need a player like this to change something up, to change the tempo, to change the speed of the game to help their group.
He got 15 minutes in game number 2, and it was very productive when he had his minutes on the floor. What you bring him in for is high energy. You bring him in for the physicalness, the athleticism, the second and third effort that he gives you on the floor, and you hope that that becomes infectious with the group that's on the floor with him. I think tonight that decision will be made based on what's going on, how someone else is playing, whether or not he gets more or less than 15 minutes.
Yeah, I like it. I think he provides a jolt when he comes in. I do think you're right, Mike. He raises everyone's level. When a guy comes in and he's playing that hard, you try and match it. And I think that is a benefit for this Clipper team. So I think he'll play at least 15 minutes tonight, hopefully more if he's giving him some production as well. Let's talk about the Clipper defense, Mike, and specifically on Doncic, and why the Mavericks are shooting 50% from behind the line. Those two things kind of go hand in hand.
They do. I'm not surprised to see a little bit of an adjustment here. And what Ty Lue is doing is he's going back, as so many coaches of his experience over the years, that what you do well, don't mess with it a whole lot. And when you try to make too many changes, put too many things in the players' minds, at times it can confuse players. They're not sure, should I step out? Should I wait? Should I switch? Shouldn't I? I think a lot of that had to do in game 1 and 2 with the reason why so many of the Mavs were open at critical times, or they got easy baskets, because of the game planning putting so much into it, and you try to do the right thing. Obviously, you always want the best. But sometimes simplifying it, like we're going to see tonight, allows them to play more freely. They're not afraid of making mistakes. And I think what we're going to see tonight, not that Reggie Jackson, because he's starting at the point, is going to be matched up against Luka. What I think you'll see is whoever's on Luka is not going to leave him. If he comes off a screen, you may see the guy defending the screen step out, hard show, but the man playing Luka may just stay with him. If Luka gives up the ball, then it involves rotations with the people behind him. If they decide aggressively 1 or 2 times to trap Luka, it's not bad to change it up. And we may finally see a couple more repetitions of the zone, which we haven't seen a whole lot in games 1 and 2.
Hey, Coach, and to your point, you're absolutely right. It's really simplifying the defense. But one of the things, if you're looking at the low part of the defense, a lot of the plays where the low man is supposed to stop the basketball, that's where I'm looking at from a defensive standpoint for this team, is your low point where you need to be on the string. Those players cannot hug those three-point shooter. And because of the shots that they have made, you see a little bit more of what the Clippers are holding, getting closer to their shooters, opposed of stopping the basketball. So even from an adjustment standpoint, is making sure that your second line of defense is in better position.
Yeah, it was obvious in both the first 2 games how much miscommunication there was on defense. And when you're trying to roll out a bunch of different defensive packages, that's typically why, because guys are confused. They're in the wrong spot. So I think we're all in agreement that they're probably going to simplify things tonight, be a little more aggressive, hopefully be a little more physical on Doncic. And maybe that'll lead to Doncic not going off and the three-pointers not going in as much for the Mavericks. Corey, you want to take us to break, or should I?
Oh, go ahead, Mac. I'm going to let you do it today.
Should I do it like you? Coming up next.
Oh, yes. I like it, Mac.
Brian Seaman sits down with Ty Lue to talk about Game 3.
New venue, new results. You know it. Clippers about a few days to collect themselves and focus on changing this series with the Dallas Mavericks. Tyronn Lue is with our Brian Seaman.
Jeannie, thank you so much. You know, Ty Lue, obviously the first couple of games haven't gone the way that many of us had kind of felt. Dallas is putting up historic numbers in terms of three-point shots and offense. Your numbers are well below average, but yet you have had opportunities late in both games to win. So with all that said, give me one area that you're looking to change tonight that you can control in order to get the results that you want.
I think our communication, Brian, like you see coming out of timeouts, confusion when we're giving up layups, dunks, or threes, and we're not on the same page. So the last 2 days we just talked about communication, make sure we're all on the same page, coming out of timeouts, understanding what we're doing, we're changing coverages. And that's been our biggest problem. Like when we go to a different coverage and we really haven't executed at a high level. So we got to get better with that.
You mentioned something about making the plan of attack a little bit more simpler. Will that aid the communication breakdowns that you guys are having?
Hopefully, that's why we're doing it. Just to keep it as simple as possible, make sure our guys are playing free and not in thought, and just kind of go from there.
I know, again, there wasn't the result that we wanted to see, but I loved the way, especially offense was in that first half with Paul George. The three-point shot wasn't falling for him, but it was repeated paint attack after paint attack. I loved the way that you guys played offensively in that first half. How did you feel about it when you had a chance to watch the tape?
I felt great. Outside of the last 5 minutes, we took some, questionable shots, but we had 20 advanced passes last game, which is the most of the year. We had 55 paint attacks, which was the most of the year. And we talked about, attacking the rim, attacking the paint. And that's what our guys did. So we got to do that again for 48 minutes. And then drive closeouts. Threes are not going. If you're not wide open, put it back down on the floor because they are running hard and trying to get us off the line. And we can create more confusion if we get the ball into the paint again.
What is the biggest surprise to you so far in this series?
The way they shot the ball. Coming into the series, we said we were going to make those guys dribble, make shots off the dribble. They're shooting 34% during the regular season, and right now they're shooting 64% off the dribble. So that's been the biggest thing for me. And we got to do a better job as well, just closing out, making sure we get into their shooters, running off the lines like we worked on.
You have been in a situation like this. Kawhi has been down 0-2 in a series. You have obviously been down 3-1 in a series. And both of you guys have won those respective series. Tell me the mindset. Like, how do you narrow the focus even more? Obviously, you're focused coming into the playoffs. How do you narrow it even more in this environment now that you're in Dallas looking for your first win of the series?
Don't worry about winning 4 games. Worry about winning 1 game. And our focus has to be tonight. Whatever we have to do to win this game is the most important. Like I said, you win game 3, everything totally changes. Now they're looking to make adjustments. Now they're on their heels for game 4, learning about us coming in for game 4. So the biggest focus is tonight's game, nothing else going forward.
Ty Lue, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
Jeannie, we send it back to you.
All right, just over 23 minutes to tip off on the Domino's Tracker Countdown Clock. Track your pizza delivery at Domino's.com. Coming up next on Clippers Live, a final look at some of the key storylines for this pivotal Game 3. But first, a word from the Clippers team doctors at Cedars-Sinai on injury prevention.
Hi guys, my name is Dr. Christos Fotopoulos. I'm an orthopedic surgeon at the Cedars-Sinai Colonel Joe Orthopedic Clinic, and I specialize in injuries of the shoulder, the elbow, and the knee. And today we'll be talking about sports injury prevention. So the first step in coming back from injury, first and foremost, is always you want to make sure you speak with a healthcare professional. You always want to make sure it's safe to come back to sports and activity. And this is especially true for those of us coming back from injury, or those with underlying medical conditions, or perhaps changing medication during their break. Well, we know that stretching helps a lot with soft tissue injuries. These are the muscular injuries, hamstring strains, groin pulls. So if you walk into an activity cold, you increase your risk of having those types of injuries. So definitely stretch. We talk about dynamic stretching, not just, leaning on the floor and touching your toes. Doing things actively, maybe a fast walk or doing things on a stationary bike. So perhaps one of the more common mistakes is coming back too fast. When coming back from an injury or a prolonged break, you definitely want to ease into it and take it slow and return gradually. You have to listen to your body. Your body is a machine. It's well designed to tell you if something is going well or if something is not going well.
I'm going in. I can't be shy. You want to get out my way. I had a act like I'm not. The one on the job. We've been it before. You know what I did. I'm on my job. I'm doing my thing. I'm pushing the doors. I do it again. They said whatever. And I don't be talking to you. You should score. I'm going in.
You are watching Clippers Live, presented by CarMax on Bally Sports. Yeah, that's Kawhi Leonard hanging out in Dallas for Game 3 of this series. Clippers trying to get their toe in the water in this one and make a series of it. And we're waiting for answers from the guys because it's time for the CarMax Call Your Shot. The Mavericks have shot over 50% from 3 in this series. That is not a typo. Will they shoot less than 40% tonight, Don?
They got to prove it to me, the Clipper defense. I said no. I don't think they can hold them under 40 unless something changes tonight. So hopefully the adjustments we're talking about, simplifying things, Corey, will help them get out to shooters better. Obviously, I hope they shoot below 40, but until I see it, I'm saying no.
Well, I think they got mine wrong. I'm looking at the sheet right now.
That's what you call plausible deniability right there.
Daryl, you said, will they shoot
Anybody
over 40%? Let me look at that. The Mavericks will shoot less than, yeah.
So do you think they're going to shoot over 40?
Yes, I believe they will shoot over 40, personally.
Then you should have said no.
Then you should have said no.
I'm sorry, I was looking at it the wrong way.
But it's too late.
Yeah,
this way,
I think
Corey's
so.
in the game.
Yeah, I really believe that they will shoot over 40%. The way they're shooting the basketball, the way Tim Hardaway Jr., I believe he's shooting about 58.7% from 3. I mean, you have to find a way to stop these guys. And it starts, even with what Don is saying, it really starts on the defensive end for the Clippers to slow them down. But I just think right now their confidence is there that they probably will shoot over 40.
Well, you can't have both. It's like, okay, if those guys shoot over 40%, that's fine, but you can't have Doncic with 40 on the other side, too.
Exactly.
It's got to be one or the other. You can't have both.
All right, so you guys have said it numerous times here. Our superstars have been getting the job done, specifically Paul George, who's put together 6 quarters of pretty solid basketball.
Yeah, I don't see why that would change tonight. Again, we're talking about the Clippers and their adjustments. It'll be interesting to see if Dallas does anything differently because their defense has been pretty good. But they're shooting, as we know, Corey, shooting covers up a lot of mistakes. And so you just wonder how good their defense has been or will be if they're not making 50% from behind the line. But if the Clippers are going to come back and win this series, as always, the stars have to show up. Kawhi and PG are probably going to have to duplicate what they did in Game 2.
Even looking at their stats, I mean, both of these guys are shooting over 50% from the field, Don. That's impressive when you think about the way that they're playing, but you still need more. So for me, looking at Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, it might have to be 48, and it might have to be 38 in order to surpass the Dallas Mavericks at this point.
They combined for 69. You're calling for that again tonight?
Yeah, I mean, look, they need 69 if the defense is just okay. If the defense is fantastic, you probably don't need 69, but the defense has been not good. And so you had 69 in the last game, you still didn't win.
Final thoughts, Corey? What are you focusing on?
I'm just focusing on the first 5 minutes on what type of body language are you portraying on the basketball court. If you're portraying the body language that we know when this team is ready to play, playing with a sense of urgency, this Clippers team will will this
17,000 fans waiting in Dallas. Game 3, round 1, Bally Sports next.